Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students of VIII, Assalamu alaikum. I am your teacher Muhammad Ilyas. Dear students, this is our 7th interaction regarding biology for Cambridge. Today's topic is transport in living organisms, and this topic is from the chapter 10 of your book NLS Science, workbook 2, page number 46 to 49. Dear students, our objectives for today's session are as follows. The student will be able to understand and solve the questions given in the workbook regarding the concept of transport system in living organisms and its importance. Secondly, the transport of nutrients, wastes in the flowering plants, and the transport of nutrients and waste in humans. So these are our objectives for today's session, starting from the transport in living organisms. The living things need oxygen for respiration and food for energy. Green plants need water and carbon dioxide for photosynthesis. How do these important materials required by living things move into their bodies and to the parts of the organisms where they are needed? How do the waste products such as oxygen produced by photosynthesis and the urea travel from there where they are produced in the organisms to the parts where they are removed from their bodies? Dear students, unicellular organisms like amoeba, they do this process by simple diffusion, and they get the food and the gases from the surroundings and the waste materials which are produced in their bodies into the surroundings by simple means of diffusion. But the multicellular organisms such as flowering plants and the large animals, the cells in the middle of their bodies are a long way from the body surface. It will take too long a time for gases, food or water to reach them by diffusion alone. So to speed up the transport of substances within the body, each multicellular organism has a transport system. As you can see from this diagram, plants and the animals, they have the transport system for transporting these materials into and out of the bodies. So first of all, we are going to focus on the transport of water, minerals and gases in the plants. Dear students, from this diagram you can see how the water is moving from soil into the roots and then into the trunk and then to the leaves, and from the leaves it moves out into the atmosphere by the process of transpiration. We will see all these steps stepwise. First of all, we are going to focus how the water and minerals move into the plant body. The water and the dissolved minerals such as calcium, magnesium, nitrate and phosphate enter plants through their roots. Some minerals diffuses into the root hairs and are subsequently carried up the plant through the xylem. Other minerals are absorbed into the roots by active transport, a process that uses energy from the respiration of the plant. Energy is required to absorb those minerals which are lower in concentration in the soil than in the roots. But the water moves through the root hairs by the process of osmosis. As you know, the osmosis is the process by which the water is moving from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So, dear students, by the process of osmosis, diffusion, and active transport, the water and minerals move from the soil into the root hairs, and then from the root hairs they are transported with the help of the xylem. Water is drawn up the xylem when the water from the leaves evaporates and diffuses out through tiny holes found mainly on the underside of the leaves called stomata into the air. This process whereby plants lose water due to the evaporation is called transpiration. As transpiration continues in the plant, more water is pulled up the xylem as though someone is sucking water up the plant. Dear students, the food prepared by the plants is usually in the form of glucose, then it is converted into starch. We can simply say the sugars. The sugars made in the leaves using the water transported by the xylem and the carbon dioxide which diffuses into the leaves from the air. The sugar are carried to the other parts of the plant in the phloem. Phloem runs from the leaves to every other part of the plant. They also carry other substances made by plants such as amino acids. So phloem and xylem often run side by side forming vascular bundles. The veins in a leaf are made up of vascular bundles. Vascular bundles can be seen easily on the cross-sectional cuttings of stem and the roots of the flowering plants under the microscope. As you can see, the location of the xylem and the phloem, and both xylem and phloem makes the vascular tissues a bundle. So we have learned from this that xylem is responsible for carrying the water and the dissolved minerals from soil up to the leaves, and the phloem is responsible to carry or transport the prepared food in the leaves from the leaves to different parts of the plant body where it is needed. Dear students, now we are focusing towards the transport system in the